my brother's wedding in Boston, Massachusetts, with my head held high and my heart overflowing with pride. Every guest saw a woman wearing a simple navy blue dress, carrying herself with quiet dignity. They had no idea that I wasn't just the groom's older sister. I was the person who had sacrificed her youth, her dreams, and nearly every opportunity life had offered so that he could stand there on the happiest day of his life. My name is Emily Carter, and my younger brother is Ryan Carter. 22 years earlier, our lives had changed forever. Our parents were killed in a devastating highway accident during a winter storm in Colorado. I was only 21 years old, barely out of college, with dreams of attending law school. Ryan was just 6 years old, too young to understand why his parents never came home. Everyone expected social services to separate us. Relatives offered sympathy but refused responsibility. They all had reasons why they couldn't raise a little boy. I had only one answer. I'll do it. Those 3 words changed my entire future. I worked double shifts at a local diner during the day and cleaned office buildings at night. I sold the little jewelry our mother had left me to pay Ryan's school fees. There were weeks when I survived on instant noodles so he could have healthy meals. Every birthday, every Christmas, every school event became about making sure Ryan never felt the emptiness that had entered our lives. Whenever he asked where our parents were, I would kneel beside him and whisper, "They're watching you every single day. Make them proud." He believed me. As the years passed, Ryan grew into a brilliant young man. He earned excellent grades, won scholarships, and eventually graduated from one of the best universities in the United States. Watching him walk across the graduation stage was one of the happiest moments of my life. I cried harder than anyone in the audience because I knew every achievement he celebrated had been built on years of sacrifice that no one else had witnessed. People often praised Ryan for his determination. Very few remembered the woman standing quietly in the background. I never asked for recognition. Seeing him succeed was enough. Or at least, I thought it was. 6 months before the wedding, Ryan called me with excitement in his voice. "Emily, I'm getting married!" I nearly dropped my phone. My little brother, the boy whose hand I had held through nightmares, school plays, broken bones, and college applications, was starting his own family. "I'm so proud of you," I said through tears. He laughed. "And you'll have the best seat in the house." Those words stayed with me for months. I bought a modest gift. I spent weeks choosing the perfect dress. I even took unpaid leave from work so I could help with the wedding preparations. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. I stared at the young usher, convinced he had made a simple mistake. I even smiled politely, trying to ease his embarrassment. "There must be another list," I said softly. "I'm Emily Carter. I'm Ryan's sister." He checked again, scrolling through the digital guest list on his tablet. "I'm really sorry, ma'am. Your name isn't here." A strange silence settled inside me. It wasn't anger. It was confusion. I pulled out my phone and dialed Ryan's number. It rang once, then went straight to voicemail. I tried again, voicemail, then again, nothing. I sent him a message. "I'm outside. They say I'm not on the guest list. Is there a mistake?" The message showed as delivered. No reply. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Guests continued walking past me, laughing, hugging each other, carrying beautifully wrapped gifts into the venue. No one noticed the woman standing alone near the entrance, trying to understand how she had suddenly become invisible. Just then, I recognized Ryan's college friend, Daniel. "Emily," he said with surprise. "Why are you standing out here?" I forced a smile. "They won't let me in." His expression changed instantly. "What? That doesn't make any sense." He walked over to the usher and spoke to him for a minute before returning with an uncomfortable look on his face. "They're saying they received specific instructions." My stomach tightened. "Instructions from who?" Daniel hesitated. "I think from Ryan." Those words hit harder than any slap ever could. "No," I whispered. "You must have misunderstood." Before Daniel could answer, I noticed Ryan walking across the courtyard with his fiancée, Olivia Bennett, and several wedding planners. Relief washed over me. Finally, he would clear everything up. Ryan, I called. He stopped. For one brief second, our eyes met. The little boy I'd raised. The young man whose tears I'd wiped away countless nights. The brother I had loved like a son. Instead of smiling, he looked nervous. Olivia leaned toward him and whispered something. Ryan took a deep breath before walking toward me. Emily, he said quietly. Tell them it's a mistake. He looked down at the ground. It isn't. I blinked. What? He rubbed the back of his neck, refusing to meet my eyes. We decided it would be better if you didn't attend. The world around me seemed to disappear. We? He nodded. Olivia and I. I searched his face, hoping he would suddenly laugh and admit this was some terrible misunderstanding. He didn't. But why? Ryan sighed. It's complicated. No, I replied, my voice shaking. It's actually very simple. Either you want your sister at your wedding, or you don't. He remained silent. Finally, Olivia stepped forward. She wore an expensive white gown and an expression that held no warmth whatsoever. We're trying to build a certain image today, she said calmly. I frowned. I don't understand. She looked me up and down before speaking again. Some of our guests are business executives, investors, and people from influential families. I still didn't understand. So, she folded her arms. We didn't want people asking uncomfortable questions about your background. My background? Ryan finally spoke. Emily, you still work 2 hourly jobs. Yes. You never finished law school. No, because I raised you. He closed his eyes for a moment. I know. Olivia continued as though she hadn't heard me. We've worked very hard to create a certain impression. If people start asking questions about our family history, it could become awkward. I felt my heartbeat echoing in my ears. So you're ashamed of me? Ryan didn't answer. That silence gave me the answer I never wanted. I laughed once, not because anything was funny, but because the pain had become too overwhelming for tears. I sold my future so you could build yours, I said quietly. I know. I skipped meals so you could eat. I know. I gave up law school. I know. I became your mother after ours died. His eyes filled with guilt, but he still said nothing. Olivia glanced toward the ceremony entrance. The guests are waiting. Ryan looked at me one last time. I'm sorry, Emily. Then he turned around. And walked back into the wedding without looking back, leaving me standing alone outside the doors that I had spent 22 years helping him reach. I stood outside the venue for several minutes, unable to process what had just happened. The cold Boston breeze brushed against my face, but I barely felt it. My heart wasn't broken because I had missed a wedding. It was broken because the little boy I had raised had chosen his reputation over the woman who had given him everything. Slowly, I wiped away my tears. That was the last time I would ever cry because of Ryan Carter. As I walked toward the parking lot, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Hello? A calm voice answered. Ms. Emily Carter? This is Michael Harrison, attorney for the Carter Family Trust. I frowned. I think you've called the wrong person. No, ma'am. I've actually been trying to reach you for several weeks. My curiosity replaced my sadness. What is this about? Your late parents established a trust before their passing. According to its terms, you became the sole trustee until your brother turned 35. I stopped walking. I'm sorry. What? There are family assets, investment accounts, and several properties worth approximately $18 million. I could barely breathe. 18 million? Yes, ma'am. I've never heard about any trust. The attorney handling the case passed away many years ago. During our recent audit, we discovered that you had never been informed. We've spent weeks locating you. My knees felt weak. And Ryan? He is a beneficiary, but only if the trustee approves the distribution. Legally, every payment requires your signature. Silence filled the line. At that exact moment, I looked back at the wedding venue. Inside those beautiful walls, Ryan was celebrating a future he believed was perfect. He had no idea that the woman he had just humiliated controlled the inheritance he had expected to receive. The irony was almost unbelievable. Mr. Harrison spoke again. There is one more thing. Yes? We were informed that your brother recently requested an early release of part of the trust to expand his technology company. And the request has been waiting for your approval. A slow smile appeared on my face, not one of happiness, but of clarity. For 22 years, I had sacrificed everything without asking for anything in return. Today, Ryan had shown me exactly what my love was worth to him. I took a deep breath before answering. Mr. Harrison, I said calmly, I'd like to review every document personally. Of course. And until I do, I looked one final time at the wedding where I had been treated like a stranger. No money leaves that trust. For the first time that day, I wasn't thinking about revenge fueled by anger. I was thinking about justice. And Ryan Carter was about to learn that the person he had thrown out of his wedding was also the only person standing between him and the fortune he believed was already his. 3 weeks after the wedding, I sat across from Michael Harrison in his downtown Boston office, surrounded by stacks of legal documents that should have reached me years ago. Every signature, every financial statement, and every trust agreement confirmed the same unbelievable truth. Everything was real. Our parents had built a successful investment portfolio before they died. They had created the trust to ensure Ryan and I would always be protected, but they had also included one important condition. The trustee, me, had complete discretion over when and how the money would be distributed if there were concerns about a beneficiary's judgment or character. As I closed the final folder, Michael looked at me. The decision is entirely yours. I nodded. I've made it. The following afternoon, Ryan called for the first time since the wedding. His voice sounded unusually friendly. Emily, can we talk? About what? I know I hurt you. You did? I've been thinking a lot. Maybe we can put everything behind us. Before I could answer, he added the words that told me exactly why he was calling. My business loan was delayed. The attorney said you control the trust. I just need you to approve the release. There it was. Not an apology, a request. I closed my eyes for a moment. Ryan, I said quietly, if there had been no trust, would you have called me? The silence on the other end lasted long enough to tell me the truth. Finally, he whispered, Emily. No, I interrupted. Answer the question. He couldn't. That hurt more than anything else. I spent 22 years proving that family comes before money, I continued. You spent one afternoon proving that money comes before family. A week later, Ryan and Olivia came to my house together. For the first time, Olivia looked nervous instead of confident. She lowered her head. I'm sorry, Emily. I judged you without knowing your story. Ryan stepped forward with tears in his eyes. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I became the kind of man Mom and Dad would never recognize. I forgot who stood beside me when everyone else walked away. For a long moment, none of us spoke. I finally broke the silence. I won't punish you forever. Revenge would only make me become someone I don't want to be. Ryan looked up hopefully. But trust isn't rebuilt with words, boss, I said. It's rebuilt with actions. I approved only enough money to keep his company alive. Not enough to make him wealthy overnight. The remaining inheritance would stay protected until he proved, over time, that he valued people more than appearances. Months later, Ryan quietly began volunteering at the same children's home where we had once received help after losing our parents. He never told anyone. I found out from someone else. That was the moment I realized he was changing for the right reasons. 1 year after the wedding, Ryan and Olivia invited me to dinner. There were no photographers, no wealthy guests, no perfect image to protect, just family. As we sat around the table, Ryan stood and raised his glass. I spent most of my life believing success was measured by money and status, he said. But the greatest gift I ever received wasn't an inheritance. It was a sister who sacrificed everything so I could have a future. Tears filled my eyes as he continued. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to deserve the love I once took for granted. For the first time in many years, I smiled without pain. Because in the end, the greatest revenge wasn't taking everything from my brother. It was teaching him the value of the one thing he had almost lost forever: family.